I am here today at Make Liverpool. There's basically a really cool studio space. Hopefully we're going to be doing one with them in the future. But I'm actually here to meet Max from Rawhide Custom to find out a little bit about the idea behind Rawhide. I have somehow broken my microphone, so I'm going to film this on my phone. So it won't be great, but we're just going to work with it. I'm with Max from Rawhide Custom. Max, tell me a little bit about where we are today, what is behind you?
So we're down in the North Docks in Liverpool. We're in Make, which offers various creative spaces for small businesses. And this is Rawhide Custom's little workshop.
Cool, can we go in and have a look?
Have a little look through.
Sweet.
So this is where it all happens, small but functional. Got the laying out table for working on belts and whatever else. Laying out the hides, and then the work tools, it's all done by hand, so there's no big machines or any power tools, just small hand tools, so this is all it takes really.
What made you choose Make as your kind of studio workshop space?
It was a real struggle. Surprisingly, in a place like Liverpool, you'd think there'd be all sorts of options, but there was a clear line either between small and not really suitable, or massive and really expensive. And trying to find someone that's happy to let you make a bit of noise and you know, setting rivets and all that kind of stuff, it was tougher than I thought. And then I found Make, who, you know, you can come in any time of day, stay as late as you like, just really laid back and just given a good open sort of blank canvas of people who are making and creating stuff.
Tell me a bit about how you got started with Rawhide Custom and making leather goods. Have you always done this? Have you always known you wanted to do it?
I started off doing a law degree at uni, and that definitely taught me that I didn't want to be a lawyer. So I dabbled around with a few different ideas and a few different things, and then one of my mates that I was living with at the time was experimenting with some pieces of leather. And we just decided, let's get on this together, teach ourselves the traditional way of doing it. Set up a website with a product range of all the classics, the belts, the wallets, and just go knocking on doors. So we basically just approached people around Liverpool, see if they wanted anything making, any custom pieces. And it just sort of went from there. So now it's a mix of custom pieces that people request and products that are on the website on the current range.
What's your most popular product?
It's probably the classic, the bifold wallets. So this is a mix of new and old. So that's as it starts. And then that one's been carried for about 18 months, and it just gets this really nice deep colour. Obviously all the scratches are testament to the adventures that you've carried it on, but it's just a nice classic design, cash and cards. And I think people like having something that's sort of traditional, but then they can customise with their own initials or their stitching colour. And because of the scale, every single thing is made to order, so you can pick your leather colour, your stitching, your initials, and I think people really appreciate not just getting them mass produced, take one off the shelf.
Absolutely.
They're a part of the design process.
I may be a little bit naive or not shop around too much, but when I think of custom leather goods, I think they'd probably be a bit out of my price range, but I'm not sure. Tell me, what are the kind of prices that people can expect to pay for custom goods?
We've got a good range of prices, starting at under a tenner for a personalised key tag, going all the way up to bespoke knife rolls for chefs. We've got these journal covers, which we make for a lot of lawyers and building surveyors, architects. So these are at the upper end of the scale, but what sort of dictates it is the stitching. All of the stitching's done by hand, so basically rule of thumb, the more stitching, the higher the price tag. But there's something in there for most budgets, I'd like to think, and if not, we're always happy to try and work to a set figure.
What is your favourite item to make?
Again, it probably would be the classic, the bifold. There's something about the symmetry of it, how compact it is, the fact that it is quite traditional and everyone would recognise it as, you know, that typical wallet but with your own little touch, whether it's the stitching or the lettering. So they're quite good, but then also it's great for a bit of stress relief. The belts, they're secured with solid brass rivets, so you need to give it a good whack to set the rivets.
Do that on your angry days.
Yeah, get a bit of the stress out and make a bit of noise. But it's nice having the sort of heavy rivet setting and that kind of thing, and then maybe the next day you're working on a notebook cover, which takes quite a fine touch with the stitching especially.
How long would you say it takes you in total? Because you might obviously do it at different times, but how long does it take to make like a wallet?
Wallet, you're probably talking, for one of these, probably 5 or 6 hours. The notebook cover in excess of a day. And again, the bulk of that is the stitching. Most people don't realise, but just to stitch sort of this edge here, you're probably talking 45 minutes. And that's before you cut everything. And because it is all made to order, there's no templates, there's no racks of wallet pockets on a shelf. It's all cut from the hide as the order comes in.
So where do you get your leather from? Where do you cut it from?
It's all sourced from selected farms around the EU, and then it's brought to England and tanned the old-fashioned way. It's all tanned by hand. And sometimes people ask about the veg-tanned element of it. It's a cowhide which is then treated in vegetable matter, leaves and bark and things like that. They have natural tannin in them which seeps out and conditions the leather. And it's just better than the chemical variants, because if you use chemicals and dyes, it'll be done overnight. But then that finish can peel and crack. And whereas if you've ever seen a nice old leather jacket or a nice old leather sofa that gets better with age, chances are it's been veg dyed, and it just sort of gets better as time goes on.
What sets you aside from other people doing the same kind of custom leather goods?
Obviously the leather is the big one. We're quite protective over the details of who we get our leather from. Then the methods, no laser cutters hidden in the background cutting all the pieces out for us. It's all done the old-fashioned way. And I think also the fact that we offer the customization at no extra charge. We've never charged anybody to add initials or a different colour stitching or whatever else, which some people might offer, but there's an extra fee involved. We want people to make each item their own, to encourage that belief in using it every day, if you like. If it's the same as everybody else's, it's just a throwaway product, but as soon as you've made it your own, I think that really goes a long way into it. So the price that we put on our website includes the customization, the choices, the UK delivery, just so you can pick out exactly what you want and get it delivered to the door.
What are you working on today?
Today is dog collars and dog leads. We've got one in the press just there, finishing off the stamp. So we get these brass stamps milled out, and this one's got our logo on it, handmade in Liverpool.
Is it important for you to kind of get Liverpool in your brand?
Definitely. Yeah, massive. So we only put it on things like belts or collars which are big enough, because I hate seeing those products where 90% of it is the branding or somebody else's logo. If it can take that stamp, I always like to put it on, because I always think if it was made in Brooklyn or central London, people would damn well be screaming and shouting about it, but for some reason Liverpool is often sort of brushed to one side. I just think, especially in an area like the North Docks, I want to really let people know. And sometimes in the past people have asked, especially at events, I'll get one of these belts, but can you make sure it's got that on mine, that stamp, because it's either going as a gift to someone overseas or they've got a link to the city. So yeah, the stamp adds another element in my mind, and a lot of people seem to appreciate it.
Awesome, thank you very much for your time.
No worries, pleasure. Thanks for coming in.